The sea was a vast expanse of mystery and peril, where countless legends and tales of terror had been born. One such story began with the departure of the merchant ship, the Elysian, from the bustling port of Liverpool in the late summer of 1897. Laden with valuable cargo and bound for the distant shores of India, the ship's crew was a seasoned lot, led by the grizzled Captain Thorne, a man whose years at sea had etched lines of salt and grit upon his weathered face. The first few days of the voyage were uneventful, filled with the usual humdrum of a maritime journey. The sun shone brightly, and the sea was calm. The crew, comprising men from various corners of the British Empire, went about their duties with the practiced ease of seasoned sailors. Among them was young Thomas Avery, a recent addition to the crew, full of ambition and the desire for adventure. As the Elysian sailed deeper into the Atlantic, the weather began to change. The skies darkened, and a foreboding chill settled over the ship. The once placid waters became restless, and an eerie fog enveloped the vessel, obscuring the horizon. It was during one of these fog-laden nights that the first whispers began. Thomas was on the night watch, pacing the deck to ward off the cold. The sound of the waves lapping against the hull was hypnotic, and the fog muffled all other noises. As he walked past the cargo hold, he heard it, a faint whisper, almost indiscernible, but unmistakably human. "Help us." Thomas stopped, straining to hear more. The whisper came again, clearer this time. He moved closer to the hold, peering into the darkness. His heart pounded as the whispers grew louder, filling the air with a chorus of desperate pleas. "Help us, release us." Fear gripped him, but curiosity compelled him to investigate. He fetched a lantern and made his way below deck, where the whispers seemed to emanate. The cargo hold was filled with crates and barrels, their contents tightly secured. Thomas scanned the room, his lantern casting flickering shadows on the walls. As he approached a particularly large crate, the whispers became more distinct, as if the voices were coming from within. Gathering his courage, he pried open the crate. Inside, he found an intricately carved wooden box, its surface adorned with strange symbols. The whispers were now deafening, filling his mind with an overwhelming sense of dread. Trembling, he opened the box. To his surprise, it contained nothing but an old, tattered journal. Thomas took the journal and retreated to his quarters, where he began to read. The journal belonged to a sailor named Edmund Blackwood, who had served on the Elysian many years ago. As he delved into the entries, a horrifying tale unfolded. Blackwood wrote of a cursed artifact that the ship had once carried, a golden idol, stolen from an ancient temple deep in the jungles of India. The idol was said to contain the souls of those who had defiled the temple, bound to it by a powerful curse. The crew of the Elysian had dismissed the warnings of the local villagers, believing the idol to be nothing more than a valuable trinket. However, as soon as the idol was brought on board, strange occurrences plagued the ship. Crew members reported hearing whispers, seeing ghostly apparitions, and experiencing vivid nightmares. Men who were once strong and healthy began to wither away, their minds consumed by madness. Blackwood himself had witnessed these horrors and had recorded them in the journal, hoping to warn others of the curse. Thomas's blood ran cold as he realized the whispers he had heard were the voices of the damned souls trapped within the idol. He knew he had to tell Captain Thorne. Clutching the journal, he made his way to the captain's cabin. Captain Thorne listened intently as Thomas recounted his discovery, his stern visage growing more severe with each word. When Thomas finished, Thorne took the journal and read it himself. His eyes, normally hard as steel, softened with a mix of sorrow and determination. "We must rid ourselves of this curse," Thorne declared. "If what this journal says is true, the idol must be destroyed, and the souls released." The captain summoned the crew and shared Blackwood's tale. Skepticism and fear rippled through the men, but Thorne's resolute demeanor quelled their doubts. He ordered the cargo hold searched, and soon enough, they found the idol, hidden away among the crates. The idol was a grotesque figure, its golden surface etched with malevolent faces. As it was brought on deck, the whispers intensified, now accompanied by a cold, howling wind that seemed to rise from the depths of the ocean. The crew gathered around, their faces pale and eyes wide with terror. "We must cast it into the sea," Thorne commanded, his voice unwavering despite the growing unease. As they moved to throw the idol overboard, the ship was rocked by a sudden, violent storm. Waves crashed against the hull, and the wind howled like a banshee. The idol seemed to resist their efforts, as if an invisible force was holding it back. The whispers became screams, filling the air with an unholy cacophony. With a final, desperate heave, the crew managed to cast the idol into the churning waters. As it sank beneath the waves, a deafening silence fell over the ship. The storm ceased, and the sea grew calm once more. The crew stood in stunned silence, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. For a moment, it seemed as if the nightmare was over. But then, from the depths of the sea, a new sound emerged, a deep, resonant voice, speaking in a language none of them understood. The water around the ship began to bubble and churn, and a dark shape rose from the depths. A massive, shadowy figure emerged from the sea, its form indistinct but undeniably monstrous. The crew recoiled in horror as the creature loomed over the ship, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. It spoke again, its voice reverberating through their minds. "You have released us, but the curse remains. The sea will claim you all." With that, the creature vanished, leaving the crew in a state of abject terror. Captain Thorne, his face pale but resolute, took command. "We must leave these waters," he ordered. "Set a course for the nearest port." The crew worked frantically, their fear driving them to unprecedented speeds. As the Elysian sailed away from the cursed waters, the whispers faded, but a sense of foreboding lingered. Days turned into weeks, and the crew remained on edge, haunted by the memory of the creature and its ominous warning. One night, as they neared the coast of Africa, the whispers returned. This time, they were accompanied by strange visions, ghostly figures walking the decks, their eyes hollow and filled with sorrow. The crew's fear turned to panic, and discipline began to break down. Captain Thorne knew they had to act. He gathered the remaining men and shared his plan. They would perform a ritual, detailed in Blackwood's journal, to cleanse the ship of the curse. It required a sacrifice, an offering to the sea to appease the restless spirits. The crew, desperate and fearful, agreed. They prepared the ritual, gathering the necessary items and following the instructions in the journal. As they performed the rites, the air grew thick with tension, and the whispers grew louder, filling their minds with dread. At the climax of the ritual, a bright light enveloped the ship, and the whispers ceased. The ghostly figures vanished, and a sense of peace settled over the Elysian. The crew breathed a collective sigh of relief, believing the curse had been lifted. However, their relief was short-lived. As dawn broke, they discovered that several crew members were missing, including young Thomas Avery. A thorough search of the ship revealed no trace of them. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. Captain Thorne, stricken with grief and guilt, ordered the ship to continue its course. The remaining crew, though shaken, complied. Days passed, and the journey continued without further incident. But the sea, it seemed, had not finished with them. One moonless night, as the ship sailed through calm waters, a thick fog descended once more. The air grew cold, and the whispers returned, more insistent than ever. Captain Thorne stood on the deck, staring into the fog, his heart heavy with a sense of impending doom. He knew the sea would not let them escape so easily. As the whispers grew louder, he felt a strange compulsion to walk towards the edge of the ship. The crew watched in horror as their captain, a man they had trusted with their lives, stepped onto the railing and gazed into the abyss. Before they could react, Thorne leaped into the water, disappearing into the depths. The remaining crew, paralyzed by fear, could only watch as the fog lifted, revealing calm waters once more. The whispers had ceased, and a haunting silence fell over the Elysian. They were alone, adrift in an endless sea, their fate uncertain. As the days turned into weeks, the ship finally reached the shores of India. The remaining crew, their minds and bodies ravaged by the ordeal, disembarked, leaving the Elysian to its lonely fate. The ship, now a ghostly relic of a harrowing journey, was left to rot in the harbor. The story of the Elysian and its cursed voyage became a legend, whispered among sailors and told in hushed tones in taverns and ports around the world. It was a tale that served as a grim reminder of the sea's mysteries and the ancient curses that lay hidden in its depths. And though the ship was abandoned, its name lived on, a symbol of the eternal struggle between man and the unfathomable forces of the ocean. In the heart of the Atlantic Ocean, where the waves dance in a wild frenzy and the winds howl like vengeful spirits, there lies a ship unlike any other. Its name, whispered in fearful tones among sailors, is the Abyssal Whisper. Legend has it that those who dare set foot upon its cursed deck are doomed to confront their darkest fears and desires, trapped within its sinister embrace forevermore. Our tale begins with a group of adventurers, drawn by whispers of untold treasures hidden within the Abyssal Whisper's depths. Among them is Captain Jameson, a seasoned seafarer whose lust for riches blinds him to the warnings of superstition. With his crew in tow, he sets sail towards the legendary ship, driven by greed and ambition. As the Abyssal Whisper looms into view, shrouded in an eerie mist that seems to emanate from its very soul, a sense of foreboding grips the hearts of the adventurers. Ignoring their unease, Captain Jameson orders his crew to board the ghostly vessel, eager to claim its secrets as his own. Once aboard, they are immediately ensnared by a malevolent force that seems to permeate every inch of the ship. Shadows dance in the corners of their vision, and whispers echo through the empty corridors, promising both salvation and damnation in equal measure. As they delve deeper into the bowels of the Abyssal Whisper, each member of the crew is confronted by their own personal demons. Sarah, the ship's navigator, is haunted by visions of her lost love, whose betrayal still cuts deep into her soul. Thomas, the burly first mate, is tormented by memories of his violent past, the blood of his enemies staining his hands even in death. But it is Captain Jameson who faces the greatest trial of all. As he searches for the fabled treasure that has eluded him for so long, he is forced to confront the true cost of his obsession. The whispers grow louder, mocking his greed and hubris, until he is consumed by fear and doubt. In the depths of the Abyssal Whisper, where reality blurs and nightmares come to life, the line between friend and foe begins to blur. Paranoia grips the crew, turning them against one another in a desperate bid for survival. Betrayal and deception reign supreme, as alliances are forged and broken with each passing moment. But amidst the chaos and despair, a glimmer of hope emerges. For deep within the heart of the Abyssal Whisper lies a secret more precious than gold or jewels. A secret that promises redemption for those who are willing to face their fears and embrace the truth that lies within. As the final confrontation draws near, Captain Jameson must make a choice that will determine the fate of not only himself but also his crew. Will he succumb to the darkness that threatens to consume him, or will he find the strength to defy fate and forge a new destiny? In the end, as the echoes of the Abyssal Whisper fade into the depths of the ocean, the true nature of the ship's curse is revealed. For it is not the treasure that lies within its hold that is cursed, but the hearts of those who seek it. And in that revelation lies the ultimate lesson, that true wealth can only be found within oneself. And so, as the sun sets on the horizon and the waves carry the Abyssal Whisper into oblivion, the survivors emerge forever changed by their ordeal. For though they may have escaped the clutches of the cursed ship, the scars it has left upon their souls will never truly heal. But perhaps, in time, they will come to see that the greatest treasure of all is the journey itself, and the bonds of friendship that endure even in the face of the darkest abyss.